what colour is that? Like a tealy colour, quite like that. Here's Yvonne. Morning, Yvonne. We should be live on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, but Yvonne's in red. We sort of like doing a reddy pink. Tom, no, Tom. Right, we're going to have to coordinate this next time. We're live on Facebook, YouTube. Let's go Instagram and LinkedIn. And I know we mentioned last week to work on the shoulders and the neck. So we'll do a little bit more work, shoulders, neck, and spine. So come up to standing and make sure you've got some space around you, that you're not going to knock anything over. So you've got space in front and behind. So side to side. And forwards and back. Let's just start off with a little bit of knocking. I want to do it slightly differently than we normally do it, in that we just bring off that opposite heel. So we're actually driving with the hips now. So if you think about, if I'm mirroring you, if this is the right foot, I'm almost like pushing in with the ball of the foot to drive that hip forwards. The weight then is on that left leg and you're feeling that rotation there through the left hip. But then when we swap sides, you do the same thing. So you push off with the ball of the left foot, the heel peels off the ground, and you feel that rotation and the support in the right hip. So making sure you're hip width apart and then just shifting that weight, knocking. I just really want to emphasize focusing on that strong lower body and then a lighter lifted upper body. So really freeing up the spine, feeling that rotation through the spine, relaxing the shoulders. And breathing easy in and out through the nose. The arm that swings across the front, we're now going to bring into a light fist. Oh, Tom's changed his t-shirt. That was quick, I didn't see that. It's the Red Brigade this morning. And then just tapping onto the pecs, onto the top of the chest, tip of the lung. Remember, the lungs go right up here. And then cupping the hand of the arm that swings across the front of the body and going right into the shoulder. Big shoulder neck muscles there. Still driving from the hips and the waist, shifting the weight. And then coming back down to chest. And back down to belly and back. And then keeping both heels on the ground and slowing it down into water waves. So still keep that idea of using the ground, that strong lower body, really soft, lengthened, lifted, light upper body. And slow it down. And standing for a minute, just opening the shoulders, palms facing forward, standing tall. Really feeling that connection to the ground through the feet, and then lifting and lengthening the spine. Just breathing easy, gently in and out through the nose. And then have a little bit of a shake, shaking the wrists out and the arms out and the shoulders out. And we can have a little bit of shake with the legs, so you can tap the heels into the ground. You can maybe do the washing machine where you tap alternate heels into the ground. And let's do a couple of cleansing and clearing breaths where you take a breath in, calm breath in, full breath in, and then let go. Good old shake. And then stand again for a minute, opening the shoulders. Feel the difference now. Feel that tingling sensation. Just let the breath settle naturally. One of the questions I often get asked is, where's the best place to breathe? Belly, do I breathe with the belly? Do I breathe with the chest? And think about it logically. Where are the lungs? The lungs go right up to the tip here, and they go right down to the diaphragm down here. So the best place to breathe is in this cavity here in the thorax. Now, when we take a breath in, remember the diaphragm in its resting position is sitting up like this. So it's sitting up into that rib cage. When we breathe in, that diaphragm moves down. It moves down a little bit, not massively, moves down a little bit to create that space to expand the chest. But what that also does is it puts what we call intra-abdominal pressure in the abdomen area. So we know when we feel that pressure, that's where you maybe get the idea of belly breathing. Now remember, actually, let's do this. I always think about not working on the floor as much as possible because it can be difficult. But let's lie on the floor. Hopefully you've got a little bit of space. And if you need a cushion for the back of the head, that's absolutely fine. But just take your time just to get onto the floor. Have your feet in this sort of like standing position on the floor and about hip width apart. Lie down and just rest your hands just below the lower ribs. And just breathe naturally. See if you can feel just that slight pressure as the diaphragm is moving down. And that, because we're laying on the ground, and your diaphragm isn't having to support the spine, you'll feel the belly rise. So you're not actively belly breathing or breathing with the belly. This is really important that you just feel that area as a response to the breath. Now, what's just as important in this position is just bring your hands, if you can, just underneath or towards the lower back. So you feel the base of the ribs and you feel the back of the ribs. And also feel as you breathe in, the ribs gently being pushed into the ground. So you might have to be a little bit more aware of this, because if the spine's a little bit tight, what can happen is the ribs can flare up at the front and you just feel the belly rising and falling. So see if you can just breathe and feel the back of the ribs just being very gently pushed into the ground. As always, it's nothing to do with forcing or straining. And what you might notice when we focus on the back of the ribs as well is you might feel that intra-abdominal pressure going a little bit lower in the body. So maybe down almost to the pelvic floor. So with just that gentle engagement of the lower ribs in the back, see if you can feel the pressure of the diaphragm moving down, just connecting to the pelvic floor muscles or into the hips. Again, I don't want anything forced or pushed here. So just breathing into the hips. Now, of course, we've not got air going into the hips or into the abdomen. Got the diaphragm, it's causing that intra-abdominal pressure. This is a response. This is a consequence of the diaphragm contracting, moving down slightly. And while we're on the floor, hopefully you're still all on the floor, not falling asleep, just very slowly roll onto your side and then roll onto your front. And what you can do is, if you want to, just put your head, fold your hands across and the shoulders up a little bit and just rest your head on the back of the hands and just keep the legs long here. And now what I'd like you to do is actively take slightly fuller breaths and feel some movement in that sort of like lower back, lower ribs, lower back area. So see if we can, again, not forcing or pushing, but just get some more air into the back of the body. Relax the shoulders. And feel very subtle movement in the back of the body, the back of the ribs. Follow 2 more breaths. And then just take your time, just to very slowly come up to standing. No rush. Take your time. And then when you're standing, what's the difference? Gravity's in a different place. Your diaphragm has to support the spine as well. So you're not going to feel exactly the same movement here. So if we suddenly start to think, oh, I need to belly breathe when I'm standing or when I'm walking or when I'm running, and we start to actively engage the abdominal muscles, it's most probably not the best thing to do. So if ever we need to actively engage the abdominal muscles, it's usually just when we're doing a little bit more exercise, just to help with that exhale. So just have a little bit of a shake out. And we're going to do a little bit of work on the shoulders now, because we put a lot of attention breathing down here, and we don't put enough attention, in my opinion, breathing up here. So what tends to happen if we tight up here and we can't create that space here, everything just lifts. So we start to use those accessory breathing muscles, particularly if we're sitting for a lot of time or working at a screen. So we're just going to do our little shoulder movement, then we'll do our neck movement. Now, all of this stuff, if anything hurts, you stop. It's not about pushing through pain. Just do some very gentle, slow movement, just as we do with the Qigong, slow, steady movements. Fingers together like that. Find that space underneath the collarbone. Now, although this is a shoulder exercise, use the spine. So all the movement comes from the spine. So as I am bringing the elbows down, I'm rounding the spine a little bit there. As I'm bringing the elbows up, I'm lifting my sternum, lifting the heart towards the sky. So I'm getting that movement not just through the shoulders, but through the spine. We're working on getting that movement here through the thoracic spine. And we're doing this nice and slow, nice and slow. But making sure, again, you're supported with the feet and the legs on the ground. Strong lower body. Once you've got comfortable with the movement, breathing with it. So breathing in as we're expanding, breathing out. So it's very much like spinal cord breathing with the upper spine. Let's change direction. Really work that spine. And take a rest, just giving your arms a little bit of a shake. A nice way to also just to give the arms a shake is you can stand and just shake them. But what I quite like to do is also is just sort of lean forwards and almost like let that shoulder hang off the or let that arm hang off the shoulder. So that's quite nice, just to free up the shoulders a little bit. And then stand tall. See how that feels. So you should feel, you maybe feel some more openness here in that chest, in the upper chest, so that when we breathe, it expands without using those accessory breathing muscles. Let's go back to that position. So we've got the fingers in that space. And this time we're going to do some paddling. So as we lift this elbow up, watch that you're not hiking the shoulder up. Elbow lifts, shoulder follows, but also we're lifting the rib cage there away from the hip. So we're getting what we call that lateral flexion. You're squeezing a lemon there. So you've got one arm going down. Then we also come forwards, so you get that rotation. And then if you're standing, use the hips as well. So that hip and shoulder comes forwards. I'm bending the knee a little bit there. So get that lower body working. If you do this sitting at a desk, it's quite good to sit at a desk because then it takes or on a chair, it takes the hips out of the equation. So you are literally just working spine and shoulders, but here it's quite nice. If you're standing, lifting the lower ribs away from, get that elbow back as well, so get nice movement back. And then let's change direction. Remember, these are steady, slow movements. You're going to your own comfortable range of motion. If you find yourself holding the breath, that most probably means you're straining or you're pushing a little bit too hard. So making sure you're breathing with the movement. And then take a rest again, shaking out the arms, shaking out the shoulders. Stand and see how that feels. Let's do a little bit with the neck and spine. So again, just really emphasizing, don't do anything that you force or push. If anything hurts, you stop. But what I want you to do is place your hand on the crown of the head and then just lift it a couple of inches above the crown of the head, and then you're aiming to get the crown of the head into the palm of the hand. So that just lengthens the spine first. Then you rest the hand on the palm of the head and you take that ear very slowly towards the opposite shoulder. Now watch that we don't tilt the whole body. Watch the chin isn't doing any odd things, so you're still keeping that face, so you're still keeping the chin in line with the spine. So we're just taking the ear to shoulder, just very gently holding that position. When you feel that engagement there in the side of the neck, and just breathing easy. Couple more breaths. And then bringing the head back to balance on top of the spine. Now, if you have any pain in the neck, any neck issues, just do this very gently or just go small movement. It's not about forcing, pushing. Same thing, opposite side. Lengthen first. Lengthen, 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 lengthen first. Rest. Hand, palm on the crown. Gentle ear to shoulder. Breathing. Breathing. And then very slowly bring the head back to balance on top of the spine. Have a little shake, have a little twist if you need that little bit of a twist. And then we're going to do the same with that added movement of the rib cage. So let's go back to the opposite side, lengthen first. So lift tall, rest the hand on the crown, ear to shoulder. Stop when you feel that little bit of an engagement there in the neck muscle. And then take the opposite hand on the lower ribs and then just very gently shift that rib cage across. So we're creating a nice ripple down the spine. Again, really emphasizing, do not do anything that hurts. And breathing. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Slowly bringing the head back to balance on top. Switching sides. Remember, always lengthen first. It's like uncoiling a spring first. Lengthening, 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 creating space between each of the vertebrae. Resting the hand on the palm, on the crown of the head. Ear to shoulder first. Feel that connection there, and then take the opposite rib cage or the opposite hand on the side of the ribs. Gently slide across. Breathing. Following a few more breaths. Then balancing on top of the spine. Shaking out a little bit. Let's go back to our knocking. So remember just that shifting of the weight, peeling of the heel, driving, using that lower body and just really freeing up, keeping that upper body just very light and lifted. See if you feel any difference in the mobility in the shoulders, in the neck, in the spine. And then slowing it down. So heels connect to the ground, nice and stable through the ground. Soften into the ankles, the knees, and the hips into water waves. Arms facing the front. Breathing in. Breathing out. Interlocking your thumbs, just resting on the lower down chin, bringing the feet together. Tall through the spine, just for a final minute, just closing your eyes. Letting the body gently rock and sway. And taking a calm breath in, opening your eyes, stepping out, having a little brush down. Let's choose what colour we were all wearing on Wednesday then on Zoom. This is going to be your challenge. Brushing down. Good, having a little shakeout. So what I really wanted to emphasize today is don't get lazy. Belly breathing is good, chest breathing is bad. Remember, the best place to breathe is here, where the lungs are. And what we're noticing when we're feeling movement down here when we're breathing is very different on the floor as to standing, as to walking, as to running. So that movement that you feel here is the response to the breath. Remember, we want to be breathing up here, but not overusing these accessory muscles. So we want to start creating that space as we are doing here, so we can have that very subtle expansion and contraction and get the breath right into the top of the lungs there as well. Hopefully you enjoyed the session. Hopefully that helped a little bit, got us feeling nice and ready for the day, for the week. We're back on Wednesday, where we'll be focusing a little bit more on functional movement. But if you're in the Zoom group, if you're the core members, then just to put a date for your diary on Saturday, this coming Saturday, because I think this Saturday is the last Saturday of the month, because I think next week on Friday is the 1st of August, I might be wrong anyway. This coming Saturday, 10 o'clock, we're going to have one of our extra sessions as well, and I'll send you a link to that to register. So Saturday at 10, Tom's doing that, he can't make it, what's he doing? We'll record it for you. Thanks for joining. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you on Wednesday, hopefully. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.